Hey everybody, it's Smoke. I hope you're all doing well. Today I'd like to take the channel in another direction and talk about a subject that I, as well as many other people, find extremely important. That subject being the Stop Killing Games initiative. Um, if you don't know what it is and the drama that has been going on around it, give me a minute. I'll give you a brief explanation as to what it all is. Stop Killing Games is a movement that was started by Accursed Farms, also known as Ross. If you don't know who they are, please go check out their channel. They have a very in-depth multiple in-depth videos actually about everything that has happened, from everything with what I'm about to mention to a multitude of other things that I left out just for the sole factor of it would take way too long to edit this video if I included every little thing that happened. Its main objective is to preserve video games, especially those with live service functions, so developers can no longer sunset them and make it to where gamers no longer own the product after the servers are shut down. So, an example of this would be a game that Ubisoft made that I have never played, but many others probably have. It's called The Crew. As far as I know, this was a racing game. It was kind of like Forza, but it was strictly online. Like there was single player elements, but you would have to be online in order to use them. So when the servers went down, Ubisoft killed the game. It made it to where literally nobody could get on. You couldn't play single player, couldn't play multiplayer. They basically took away your game. Not only was this scummy on Ubisoft's behalf, but it also highlights a key issue with video games and the companies who make them. That being, we don't own digital property. Ubisoft's own executive has stated multiple times and actively said that consumers should get used to not owning their games. That's not fair. We should own our games. This isn't right by any means, and it's another huge reason why Stop Killing Games is so important. It protects our rights as consumers. Anyway, all that aside, I'd like to shift my attention to a man named Jason Thor Hall, or as you all might know him, Pirate Software. To start at the beginning, Pirate Software had a slow start in YouTube and streaming, only having a couple thousand subscribers on YouTube and a couple hundred average viewers on Twitch for 7 years straight. He would later make his rise to stardom in October of 2023 when he would start to upload shorts to YouTube of his streams, and they started doing very well. He would go on to amass millions upon millions of views, as you can see here. He would also gain a massive following at this time, which would transfer to his Twitch, making him one of the most popular Twitch streamers at that time. In the span of 6 months, he went from a man who barely was known on the internet at all to a complete internet sensation. He would share stories about his days working at Blizzard. He mentions that all the time, by the way. That's like his favorite thing. Or updates on his game he was working on called Heartbound. Or stories that he was a hacker from the government. His stories were entertaining, and the content that he was putting out was great. Sadly, this wouldn't last long, though, as soon after, he would find himself in the center of controversy after controversy. And the sad part is, he started all of them. To start with the first incident, we need to talk about World of Warcraft. Yes, you heard me right. World of Warcraft, the game created by Blizzard Entertainment, the massive MMORPG that's been around for decades at this point. For those of you who have never played WoW, there's a couple different versions, and the one that we'll be focusing on today is the hardcore classic version, and specifically a guild on a server ran by a popular streamer and also YouTuber named Soda Poppin'. Real quick, the difference between normal World of Warcraft and hardcore is hardcore, when your character dies, they die for good. Every ounce of progress that you made on them, gone. Every painstaking hour that you spent grinding to get to level 60, gone. Every piece of gear, equipment, anything, gone. Just like that. No way to get it back. Anyway, Soda Poppin' would go on to start a guild called OnlyFangs. Inside of this guild would be a multitude of massive creators and also smaller creators, one of said creators being Pirate Software. At first, everything would be perfect. Everyone would get along great. And then, the fateful day happened. Pirate, as well as three of his friends, or at the very minimum, three of his other guild members, went to go do a raid. Now, raids in World of Warcraft are already stressful enough, but add on top of the fact that if you die, you lose that character and all of your progress associated with them, it can quickly go from stressful to a complete nightmare. Now, to explain to you how raids work, essentially what you do is you get your party together and you go into the raid. There's a couple bosses, typically mini bosses, and then the main boss that you have to kill. Now, the raid that they were doing gave you extremely, extremely good loot. It was also the hardest raid in the entire game as far as I know. So they went in with 4 people. I believe it was a tank, a healer, and it was Pirate Software as a mage. Now, as a mage, he was supposed to be playing support and DPS, just helping where he can, keeping crowd control, that type of stuff. I will get into how everything went wrong in about 2 seconds. As they were going through the raid, the leader of the group, one of Pirate's friends, would tell the group to run after aggroing the boss as well as a bunch of other mobs.
Boss is coming too, watch out.
Yeah. Well, I got shield wall. God damn it.
Run.
Just run. Can you target dummy?
I can target dummy, yeah. Should I do it?
Just kill the massive. Yeah, target dummy. Kill the massives.
No.
Aussie, are you fine? Any grenades,
I got
anything?
Last stand. You can just
Heal him.
Yeah, you just heal me. Just come back a little bit.
Boss is on me, sitting bear form.
Snuppy, just run.
I can help bot. Yeah.
To add a bit more context to the clip ahead, Pirate kept running, and one of his teammates looked at him and asked him why he was running because the fight was still salvageable. Pirate looked at him and said, because I have no mana. He didn't have mana at the time. He was right, he did not. However, he did have 2 items inside of his bag that he could have used to get mana and help. Instead, he ran, panicked, and then abandoned everybody, and got 2 of his teammates killed in the process.
Yep.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look
is
at my mana.
savageable. Come
Innervate
on,
you?
man.
Just kill the mastiffs.
Innervate.
Innervate the healer.
bro,
Kill the
come on.
mastiffs. We got this.
Heals.
In the sense of.
War something?
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the mastiffs. One shot. Okay, we.
There's
another
more on the way.
pass.
More on the
Run
way.
now. The mastiffs can be ice novas.
Now we're gonna wait.
Musara.
Oh.
Okay, get out.
Run.
Evocation's on cooldown, man.
I can taunt last
How much mana is
moment
ice?
as well.
There's no that much mana.
You have a boss in you. You called run.
Getting slowed.
Fuck. Wait.
Anything for me?
Snuppy. Oh,
I
no.
don't think I cannot stun him.
When Pirate escaped, him and his team would talk. It wouldn't get anywhere, but they would talk. He would actively deflect every ounce of blame onto them, and instead of saying he ran away in panic, not seeing the mana recovery items, and admitting he was wrong, he actively denied any fault and pinned the blame on the leader of the group for bad pulls and bad calls, saying everybody played horribly. Pirate could have de-escalated the situation at any time, but kept doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on all the statements he made. He actively did everything in his power to deflect blame off of himself and onto the others involved. Eventually, the new guild leader of OnlyFangs would step in, Tyler 1, who had just dueled Soda Poppin' for the rank of Guildmaster and War Chief. He would sit down Pirate and the person who led the raid, and they would try to talk things out, only for Pirate to act like a stuck-up asshole the whole time, and act like everything was everyone else's fault, basically saying that everybody played like shit, and don't just blame him. Even though that wasn't what the leader was trying to do, he was only asking him to take accountability for running away and not helping.
Pirate.
Go on.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear
I
God.
want to speak to him because I didn't speak to him correctly. I said it again. We all did mistakes, bro. Like I didn't say, we are just blaming you. It's about the zero accountability is what makes us so mad.
There's no zero
You see the
accountability,
point?
dude. Everyone can do something better.
you-
But when you open up and you yell over another person
listen,
like you
can
were doing
I
earlier,
speak?
nah, I'm good.
You
See ya. I'm not doing that shit again with him. Nah, he did it the first time. I'm not doing it a second one. Not interested. That's literally the second time he's tried to yell over me. I'm out, dude. Nah. I don't want to run with him again. No. Not interested at all.
Now, while I understand not wanting to argue with somebody who's yelling over you, at the very minimum, Pirate could have sat there and listened to him and just heard why he was upset. Because the only thing that he heard was, I want you to take accountability. And classic Pirate Software, well, he doesn't take accountability for shit. So, eventually, people in the guild would feel very weirdly towards Pirate, and others in the community as a whole started to call him out on his bullshit. He didn't like this, so he started banning anyone who talked about it and claimed they were part of hate raids. Eventually, he would be kicked from OnlyFangs due to him constantly starting stuff with others and having issues with pretty much everyone. He would also go on to threaten people who were messaging him that he was going to get contacts at Blizzard to read the chats that were being sent in-game and have all of their accounts banned.
I didn't get this deep. Stop feeding into it. All of the accounts that are messaging me are getting reported. There's a funny fact about this. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. There's a whole lot of other people there that still know me. and all of these reports are going directly to them. They're well aware of the situation, and everybody who's messaging me, they're going to get read. It's kind of a dumbass thing to do, and I can't wait for all of them to get banned.
Eventually, he would go on to talk about everyone in the guild, saying that there were members who were targeting him, basically trying to farm him for content, and that the whole guild was a fucked up content farm. Shortly after this, he would stop playing World of Warcraft and would move on to other games like World of Warcraft, where he did the exact same thing, where he aggroed something and then blamed his team for aggroing it and getting him killed. Shortly after this, clips would upload of him playing a game called Outer Wild, and people suspected him of cheating. Now, I know you're thinking, how the hell do you cheat in a puzzle game? It's very simple. You look up the answers, and instead of being honest about the fact that you looked up the answers, you make yourself out to seem like you're Jimmy Neutron. This is exactly what would happen when he was doing a quote-unquote blind playthrough of Outer Wilds. I say quote-unquote because if it was actually a blind playthrough, you wouldn't be looking up answers. You can see him checking his phone while talking to chat, clearly looking something up, and not even a minute after he puts his phone away, all of a sudden he knows exactly what the hell to do. People would call him out, and this would only keep on making him double down, calling anybody who tried to confront him an idiot and saying that they had a shit take and that you can't cheat live on a puzzle game. Clearly, that's a lie.
A little too early. Just a tad.
There's no way that he would be this blatant about it, though, right? Like, he's clearly looking at his phone right now. There's no way he would go from that and just instantly solve it. Like, he would at least fake trying to figure it out for another minute or two, right? Like...
Oh, is it still too early? Oh, damn. It might actually still be too early. Oh, wait. There it is. Come on.
To add even more fuel to the fire, the internet then found out that Mr. Pirate Thor Software's dad was one of the original members and founders of Blizzard. He was in charge of the cinematics for games and trailers, among other things. Pirate would go on to be called a Nepo baby, a term he really didn't like, and he would start to ban anyone who claimed that against him, as it was, quote-unquote, disrespectful to all the work that he had put into his career. I will give him credit, though, as he quit Blizzard after his dad got him a job and seemed to apply later on his own, again, getting an entry-level position, and slowly working his way up until he eventually quit once again. Turns out, majority of the experience and stuff he did at Blizzard was also extremely over-exaggerated, though, claiming he worked on multiple games, when in all reality, none of his code made it anywhere near close to any of those games.
Yeah, really not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. It's one of those things that I've been trying to fight my entire career. It's one of the things that I've had to argue with people in chat about. It's one of the things that we ban people for here. Anytime people say shit like that, because it's deeply disrespectful and it completely overwrites any of the things that I've done throughout my career as something that is somebody else's success, which they have not been in any possible respect. And it's just rude as fuck. So, what do you say? In the thing, he said it was he called me a Nepo baby in his article. No, that's dog shit behavior. Really gross. In any case, let's go find some.
Now, I can understand where he's coming from, because at the end of the day, I'm sure anybody who has worked for what they had career-wise is not going to sit there and be happy if somebody else takes credit for their work, or somebody says to them, oh, well, the only reason you have X, Y, and Z is for this person. I don't think anybody would be happy with that, especially if you did earn it on your own. However, when you contradict yourself a little bit and you throw out how your dad worked at Blizzard with you and actively was doing shit with you, that's a different story. That means he was actively involved in your career. I'll show you a clip where he mentions that his dad was working there for 23 years, and any story that he had that anybody thinks is fake, they can ask his dad, because he was there for them. If he wasn't there for them, then you would have a solid statement of, okay, well, he wasn't part of my career. Motherfucker, he was clearly part of your career if he can validate every one of your stories for the past, 20 years.
Your Blizzard stories are fake? Which Blizzard story do you think is fake? Would you like to talk to me or my dad that worked at Blizzard for 23 years that's currently in chat? Which one do you want?
Soon after, his ego would pop up again, as he would issue a DMCA strike on an indie dev claiming they used his voice without permission. This was nowhere near close to the truth, as the developer never used his voice. People started calling him out for the dishonesty of a false strike and began to question the legitimacy of his previous claims. Now, if you thought that DMCA strikes and the whole raid was bad, it gets way worse. Pirate would then hear about an initiative called Stop Killing Games, and immediately started shitting on it. Here's all the clips of it.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I dropped the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Pirate would go on to spread misinformation about Stop Killing Games, causing Ross to make a video calling Pirate out, making him lose over 100,000 subscribers in just 2 weeks. Pirate, being himself, refused to apologize no matter what and actively told anyone who asked him about clarifying his stance or retracting his statements about it, "I don't give a fuck, eat shit." Later, he would go on to talk about and release a graph showing how Stop Killing Games grew instead of died when he mentioned it, which is the furthest thing from the truth as well. Because of the way Pirate was handling the situations, he lost a lot of supporters. People on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, etc. were calling him a narcissistic poser and trashing him. Others were defending him, saying people needed someone to latch onto and make the villain out of. I personally do not think that's the truth. If he never started any of this, and he actively looked at all of the evidence, and actually looked at what Stop Killing Games is, then a lot of this would have never happened. We wouldn't have as many issues as we do right now with this entire situation. He actively looked at what it was and misrepresented the entire thing. Alright, this is the end of the video. I'd like to thank you all for sticking with me for so long and listening to me talk about all this. I genuinely appreciate it. I figured we'd end the video on a funny note. So, for anybody who didn't believe me that this man does nothing but talk about Blizzard, and he is hype as hell that he used to work at Blizzard, here's a 2-minute clip of him just doing nothing but talking about him working at Blizzard.
I was watching a video that was critiquing you for mentioning you work at Blizzard so much. I literally never talk about it. When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. Used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. Your red team specialist for Blizzard Entertainment. And Blizzard is having worked at Blizzard. I grew up at Blizzard. Blizzard. Game industry for Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard. Yeah, no, I worked at Blizzard back when I used to work at Blizzard, when I was at Blizzard. For those who don't understand, I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. I know how to do that because I worked at Blizzard. Example of this when I was at Blizzard. How do you know so many things? I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. Actually, am the first second-generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee ever. The first second-generation Blizzard employee. So I'm second-generation Blizzard. I'm the first second-generation Blizzard employee that ever existed in the company. I'm also a second-generation Blizzard employee. I was a second-generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee ever. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee. And I love that shit. I love that company. Working for Blizzard sucked, and I work at Blizzard. Or I worked at Blizzard. There's me eating a sandwich. Yeah, that was actually at Blizzard. I think it was my first, I think it was 2009. It was me picking a safe. It was me cracking a safe at Blizzard.